Hello and welcome to a new episode number 12. We will be talking about the latest and developments in technology, the hottest and latest in technology and especially software and hardware. Let me remove the monitoring from my microphone. First of all, let's talk about one of the biggest events of last week. We had .NET event introducing .NET 5 last week, and it's an event that has always been online, and it was streamed on .net.com or .net.org, its official website, and it had a lot of discussions with distinguished engineers from Microsoft and .NET and new technologies that implemented and introduced with this release. And another big event was Apple's macOS Big Sur event on November from Apple that introduced new version of this operating system that is called macOS Big Sur. And another important thing that was introduced in that event was Apple's own chip for MacBooks. For the first time, Apple created its first chip, its own chip for MacBooks, like MacBook Air and MacBook Pro and also Mac Mini. This is an exciting piece of news for a lot of you, I'm sure, because Apple is using a completely new architecture with this chip. And if you go to Apple's website, you can find a lot about that and a lot of the new innovations that have been used with this new architecture. Shortly, we will talk more about that, but first let's finish the items that we will cover this week. Another big event over the last week was Devnation Labs from Red Hat. It was a live online event that was held by Red Hat over the last week, and it had live workshops in which people could get some credentials and actually log into IBM's cloud and experiment with OpenShift and Kubernetes. It was exciting and it was very good. Almost all of the event was kind of a demo thing by one of the distinguished engineers from Red Hat. I don't actually remember his name, but it was mostly done engineer, and it was mostly an operational demo demonstrating how to use OpenShift and Kubernetes on IBM Cloud using Red Hat OpenShift. Important event was macOS Big Sur, that is Apple's new operating system. All right, now let's turn to our main focus point, our main discussion, which is about Apple's new chip, Apple M1. For me personally, it's a big announcement because I was waiting for time, and you might know that Apple has had quite long history of creating its own chip for its devices like iPhone and iPad, and now started creating those chips for MacBooks and Mac systems as well. One thing that distinguishes this architecture from previous architectures is that Apple has a lot both in terms of CPU and GPU. And actually, let me bring some of the notes that I have taken from the event. And after mentioning some of those notes, I will also show the page of the event on apple.com, Apple CEO, and then different engineers from different departments of Apple come and talk about different aspects of the new technologies and this chip, the new operating system, software and hardware innovations. Okay, let me bring the notes. Sorry for the noise. Yeah, as I said, the event was held on YouTube servers doesn't probably work as it. Yeah, with M1 instant startups, and as I said, this chip uses architecture. One of the most significant changes is that they are using a unified memory architecture, or UMA, I think. Everything is connected to one board. It's not a memory controller, one memory chip, one hard disk on the same electronic board, and that in turn increases the performance significantly. Yeah, as I said, it has quiet systems on the new Mac systems because it has 3 times more. Also because the new M1. This base technologies and Rosetta allows the required translation to be done optimally between the units, and most of the apps from now on will be produced in universal versions and on M1. Alright, with M1 and Big Sur, iPhone and iPad apps on your Mac, and this is a main need to use, and it looks like a very good option. Shipped with M1, you can order that from Apple, and it will start 8 cores, the CPU cores, and in comparison with the previous Intel-based to the public.